After a year off, Need for Speed has the series coasting back over familiar turf, resurrecting the spirit of 2003 and 2004's successful Underground games. It is at least a more clearly distinct game than the last few Need for Speed installments were from one another. It looks incredible, sounds fantastic, and while the handling is still standard arcade fare, developer Ghost Games has added a welcome dose of nuance by letting us tune our cars for either grip or drift. However, the single-player component is over too soon, the multiplayer under-delivers, the cutscene dialogue often had me wincing.
That is also true, so.
And the game is stung by the side effects of being online only. It is immediately extremely pretty though. There are moments where it feels a little like the whole thing has been shot on Michael Mann's iPhone, but racing at speed through these soaked streets here, particularly in bumper cam, is really something. It also sounds near as good as it looks. However, these sudden jarring transitions from the dead of night to pre-dawn and then back to night again are horribly ill-conceived. The eclectic roster of cars is only a fraction of what's on offer in, say, Forza Horizon 2, but it has a little something for most gearheads. Garage spots are limited to 5, but the focus here isn't collecting, it's perfecting. I completed most of Need for Speed in a single car, constantly cramming upgrades into it to keep it ahead of the competition. Performance customization is the basic kind. Bolt in everything you're allowed to purchase and your car will go faster. But there's a little more to the visual customization. You can sweep around your car, swap external panels, add flare to fenders, install canards, adjust stance and more. There's also a freeform livery editor, which definitely beats having to make do with simple preset designs and wraps. You can't modify everything though. After I completed the story mode, I splurged on a classic Ferrari F40, but I was disappointed to discover I could barely do anything to it. I couldn't even change the rims. It seems at odds with the game's philosophy. It's still good to have customization of any sort back in Need for Speed, and with it comes several basic tuning options you can use to alter your car's driving characteristics. I much preferred the drift setup over the grip setup. Need for Speed's light narrative plays out in a series of short, live-action cutscenes, brimming with slang I don't understand, excessive energy drink consumption, overuse of the word hashtag,
#risky devil, #best night ever,
and a slightly comical amount of first-person fist bumping.
Yeah, man.
There are 5 main characters who, when they aren't speaking to each other like living, breathing internet memes, each represent a different one of Need for Speed's 5 themed racing threads. All of these threads lead to an encounter with a real-life automotive icon, an idea which I genuinely like.
Congratulations, that was awesome.
The best thread is Outlaw, which is really just a mix of all the game's race types with the cops on your tail. The cop action is scaled back from Hot Pursuit and Rivals, but I certainly appreciate how the police AI seems a lot more fair and bound by the in-game physics than it ever did in Ubisoft's The Crew. Considering it was a standout mode in the old Underground games, the lack of any drag racing in Need for Speed seems like a misguided omission. It's not an especially long story though. There are 79 main events, but I blasted through them in 2 days. This might be less of a problem if the collectibles were cooler. Sweet, another photo of a anonymous warehouse. Or if the multiplayer was robust, which it isn't. Need for Speed requires a constant internet connection to play, even if you want to play solo. You can race other players in your session if you catch them and they agree to it, and you can form or join crews to run with friends. But there's not much depth here, and there's no automatic matchmaking for players who just want to race grids of random players online. I can't see why this had to be an online-only game. You can't even pause the game as a result, which I found extraordinarily annoying. Need for Speed looks the part, sounds the part, and is surprisingly reverent to real-world car culture. I like the direction Ghost has taken here, and I think it's the right one, but beneath its flashy exterior, it's actually quite a thin package overall. For everything else Need for Speed and fast on 4 wheels, stick with IGN.